Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. And I thought today what we would touch on is just a few different subjects. And one is, what is the biggest demise of most repair shops? What are the quickest ways to streamline your process of repairs? And lastly, how are you adapting, if you're already in the business, to the go green folks that want to run everything on electric and battery? So we'll start with one, is the biggest demise of most shops these days, and that is overseas. Uh, I've got a friend, Larry, out of Pennsylvania. He's been in this business for almost 53, 54 years. And his heyday, his idea was he had grown the business large enough so that they had like 8, 10 employees. He had his son working for him, still does. But his idea was to build it up to a point of where he could either sell it to his son or one of the mechanics, and that would give him a residual revenue to add to his Social Security during his older years. And he's there now. The son doesn't want to take over, doesn't want anything to do with it. The business is bleeding right and left because they're not getting any money out of parts anymore, because all the parts people are buying online for 1/10 of what he has to pay or what I have to pay to most of our warehouses that we get our stuff from the distributors. And you have the old thing that, well, there's a difference between the stuff that's coming from the distributors and the stuff coming from overseas. And I beg to differ. Maybe that's their selling point, but I order in brand new Homelight directly from Homelight, carburetors, rewinds, what have you. And what does it say? It says made in China. And then I order in a part off eBay directly from a Chinese seller in China, and I can have it within a week with e-packets that we're paying for, and I can get it for half of what my dealer cost is with Homelight, and a lot of times less than half, usually a quarter. Why would I go to the distributor? And that's what a lot of customers are doing now that used to come to these shops like ours, is they used to come to us for parts when they were fixing their own machines. And now they don't. They go online and they order directly from these Chinese sellers. And I don't blame them a bit. They're saving big money. But that kind of cuts out your repair shop, your mom and pop repair shops and stuff. And I think I've said in a couple other videos, we were doing over $1 million in sales in just parts alone. And the environment is always going to change, and you have to be willing to change with it. But we used to sell on, I think it was like 5, 6 different venues online, plus we had our own websites and stuff. And I could not compete with these Chinese sellers selling OEM and aftermarket parts from distributors. And so brings us back to Larry. Larry had sold a lot of money in parts every year. And now fewer and fewer customers were coming to get parts from him. And then when he did get parts for customers' machines, they started complaining because they were finding that same carburetor that he was charging $64, which was a fair price. They can get it for $22 on eBay. And what do you tell a customer? Go on eBay and get it and bring it to you? So, that's probably the biggest demise, is the parts area. He's seen his son is still running the shop where they do a lot of warranty work, because that's good money. And they have a select group of customers they still deal with. But as of 6 months ago, his whole building and everything was up for sale. And you feel bad for these guys that invested everything into these businesses with the idea when they get ready to retire, they'll have an income coming in during their retirement years to enjoy. And he doesn't. The only thing he's waiting on is hopefully the sale of the building that he can put into a savings account. But other than that, nobody wants to take it over. The son doesn't want to take it over. The mechanics don't want to take it over because they know the headwind that you're up against. And that will bring us to part 3, of this video is the go green, but we'll jump to 2, which is some of the ways you can streamline your work to make things get in and get out faster. And I've used the term many a times, parts replacers. Today with the compact tractors, with these computer systems on them, they plug a computer in and the computer tells them what part to replace or what the issue is. And so we've always kind of nicknamed them parts replacers because they can't diagnose an engine without that computer. I'm not slanting them a bit. I'm just saying that's the new mechanic. But it's like, you guys, if you're still doing carburetor kits on carburetors, if you're doing what you're supposed to when you bring any unit into the shop, and that is drain the gas, check compression. Well, you should check compression, check for spark, drain the gas, hit it with a carb cleaner and see if it runs. If those are present, then you're well on your way of getting it fixed. But I know of a lot of them are still doing carburetor rebuilds. And I ask why? Why would you want to put in a $15, $20 carburetor rebuild when you can buy the whole freaking carburetor for the same money? And all you got to do is just swap out parts. Now, granted, when I get like the weed eaters and that stuff, I'll take the carburetor off and I'll tear it down. I'll blow out all the orifices with carburetor cleaner. I'll check the diaphragms to see if there's any holes and stuff like that. If I get all that done, I put it all back together and I put it back on the machine and it still has issues trying to run, I'm going to order a new carburetor. Because for what it takes, you or your employee, your mechanic, to tear down a carburetor, put it in a carburetor rebuild kit, you can buy a brand new carburetor to just throw on and go. Yeah, you're going to wait a couple days for it, unless you happen to be stocking all them certain carburetors that are being run in those units. But for the most part, why? You need to find areas where you can get in and get out fast and try to make money on it. So that brings us to 3 for you shops that are in business and you guys that are wanting to get in business. New York has got a big push right now about going green. They want to have everything battery operated or electric. They think with these solar panels and windmills that we're going to have this abundance of renewable energy. And that's simply not the case. Because my biggest questions are wind. From the last I understood, a windmill, we have numerous of them up here in the North Country. They have a life expectancy of 10 years. It also says it'll take 10 years to pay for itself. So at the end of 10 years, it's junk anyways. And I don't know what you're going to do with all the spare parts and junk. And it hasn't made any money. How do you do it? Solar farms, they're really big right now. They're really hitting a lot of upstate New York right now. And my question is how long are they good for? And where you dispose of the solar panels once they're no good? And thirdly, why are we buying all of our solar from China? Whether it be for the wind towers, for the solar panels, for the batteries. The batteries are not recyclable like the old lead. These are lithium ion. They are contaminated waste. But that's what our governor and that's what the people in Washington are pushing for. And that's going to kind of put us out of business unless you have a talent of being able to fix lithium batteries. So the repair shop now is going to be maybe the head units on them. I don't know. You no longer have an engine because it's a battery. But in the comment section, let me know what you're thinking on that. I'm old school. I'm 60 years old. I've seen a lot of stuff come and I've seen a lot of stuff go. And I think this big push for solar and wind is going to destroy us and contaminate water sources and everything else. Because these people have got tunnel vision, and instead of looking at what's actually going on, they just, in Washington, they have a tendency of not knowing what us folks are thinking about and what our concerns are. So on that note, I hope you have a great day. Questions in the comments. I read them. Thanks so much for you guys that have been putting them there. So I'll catch you on the next video.